Welcome to day 2 of making our clay cupcakes. Today we're going to start building the top of our cupcakes, which will also be the lid of our little jar or container that you're making. Start thinking about different ways that cupcakes are decorated and what you might want to do for yours, even if we don't quite get to that part today. Your first step anytime you get a new piece of clay is to make sure that you wedge it. Remember, this is really important to keep air bubbles from forming in your clay and so that it doesn't explode in the kiln and also break other people's pieces around it. After you've wedged your clay, you want to flatten it with the palm of your hand. It's going to stick to your table while you do this, and that's okay. You can use the flat tool to start scraping it off, which I will show you later in this video. But use the palm of your hand and your fingers to flatten the clay. Because you're making a lid, you want to make sure that it's about the size of your cupcake. Put your cupcake base down on your clay so that you can trace around it for the size of your lid. If you make a mistake here, it's so easy to fix. You can just rub the line into the clay and it will disappear. You can see that I made a mistake and now I'm starting over. I'm going to trace my cupcake base again, very carefully using the pencil. And now I'm going to use my pencil and another clay tool to start cutting it out. Once your lid is cut out, you want to test it and see how you like it as an actual lid for your cupcake base. I've decided this one is way too thick, so I'm taking it off and I'm flattening out again with my palm. You might find this happens to you too. It's okay in pottery and clay to start and restart your project again and again until you get it exactly how you like it. That's the nice thing about clay. So you can see that I'm tracing my lid again and I'm cutting it out with the pencil. Halfway through though, I decided that I could use a different tool that would be a lot better for cutting out this shape from the clay. I decided to use my flat tool, which gives me a more straight line and a better way of cutting this kind of clay out. And the bonus about using this tool is that you can use it to scrape clay off of the table. If you go slowly and are careful, you can actually use it to get the lid off of the table because it tends to stick because the clay is so wet and fresh. You can then smooth the edges down on your lid so that they're not quite as sharp corners and it's more rounded the way a cupcake is in real life. You don't have to do this, but I chose to because I think it looks nicer. We're going to be adding a little inner ridge so that the lid stays on your cupcake base. Anytime you connect two pieces of clay to make sure that they don't fall apart in the kiln or as it dries, you always want to score, slip, stick, and then smooth. Following these 4 steps will make sure that your clay pieces stay together and there's no risk of them falling off. My first step is going to be to try to guess where exactly the inside of my cupcake's lid is. So I'm drawing a line. It doesn't have to be perfect, and after you make it, we're going to test it, and if it doesn't work, you can just make it again. But I'm drawing a circle on the inside of my lid about where I think the inside of my cupcake base is. First, I'm going to score. Scoring is basically just like drawing small hashtags or almost like cat scratches on your clay. You really just want to get the clay worked up so that it has more to hold on to when you attach the other piece. You can see what my scoring looks like there. Now we need to make a coil for the little ridge that's actually going to sit on the inside of your lid to hold the lid on. Take a small piece of clay and roll it out. It'll probably get longer than you meant it to, but that's okay, you can just break it off. You want it to be pretty thin, maybe about the same width as your pencil. And then you can put it around your lid, taking the extra off and connecting the coil so that it is a circle. You don't need to slip and score this part, just smooth it out so that you can't tell that they're different. Now the coil itself, you do need to score. All sides of a clay piece that is being connected to another piece, they all need to be scored. If they're not both scored, there won't be enough clay for them to hold on to. After you're done scoring, then you want to get your slip. This year we're just going to use water, although last year we used a mixture of water and clay, which you can also use for slip. After you've put slip on both sides, you stick it on. It's really just making sure you have the placement right before you start this last step of smoothing. Smoothing is where you want to smooth out both sides of the pieces of clay that you've connected. So for the coil, both the inside and the outside need to be smoothed out. Anytime you attach a coil, at least one side needs to be smoothed. It's a little hard to get the inside smooth, so start with the outside and then move to the inside. You can watch the way that I'm doing it, and I'm using my fingers on either side to make sure that I don't accidentally push the coil out from where it should be. You'll know that you're done smoothing when you can't tell that the clay was ever two separate pieces. If somebody didn't know, they would not be able to tell that I had formed this by attaching a coil to my lid. Now comes the testing part. So put your lid on, hold your cupcake sideways, and see if it falls off or not. Mine stayed on, and I'm just doing a few last smoothing things for it before I'm ready for our next step, which is going to be to decorate the cupcake. When it's time to clean up, put your clay lid and the extra clay that you might have in your plastic bag and seal it up so it's closed. You can then take your cupcake base, and we're actually going to start letting these dry so that they might be ready to put in the kiln sooner. Because they won't be in your bag, you need to make sure that you write your full name in pencil on the clay. You're going to be carving into it, and it might be easier if you use capital letters. You can also choose to put your initials on the inside of your cupcake so that if your clay gets a little bit squished and the name on the bottom isn't able to be read, we can still see this. I put a V for Miss Vaught. You can choose what order you put things down. I'm putting my cupcake base down first and then putting the plastic bag next to it. You can also pick the base up and put it inside the part of the lid so that it's a little bit smaller in case all of it doesn't fit. What should you do with your pencils that you used in the clay? Don't put them back in the box. Bring them up and put them in the green basket by the sharpener. So I hope you had a lot of fun today making and watching this video about clay cupcakes. I know I did. I am really excited to decide what I'm going to keep inside of mine. Do you know what you're going to put in yours yet? Over the next couple of days, we're going to finish making these and let them dry before we put them in the kiln. Thanks for watching today. I hope you had fun. Make sure that you click like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks guys, bye!